Hello and welcome to the Cocktail Coaches podcasts. My name is Samantha. I'm the Cortex coach.
I'm Hazel. I'm the consistency coach. Hi, Sam.
Hiya. And these podcasts are where we're going to delve into topics that shape our lives, our minds, and it really it's how we show up to the world.
And so in each episode, we're going to be uncovering stories, strategies, and insights to help you build unshakable self-assurance while learning how to transform judgment into a tool for growth.
Fantastic. So today's episode is from fear to fierce, and it's about overcoming judgment and embracing confidence. You know, Hazel, have you ever stopped yourself from pursuing a dream, speaking your truth, or even wearing that outfit that you really want to wear, but you have fear of being judged if you did?
Constantly, less so these days, but even applying for jobs that I've wanted, I've always held myself back, thinking, but what will they think of me? And it does, and I've spoken to a lot of people who are like that, and it does stop you doing things you want, even as simple as you're saying about putting on a top and thinking, no, I like it, but somebody else might not. And I think that's common for most of us at some point in our lives.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in a working environment, you feel comfortable going to work in your work clothes. You sort of that's not an issue for me. But if there's any out of work activities, I feel that I would be judged in wearing certain clothes that I'm comfortable wearing at home around my friends, but in a different environment, you think, well, is this appropriate? What's everybody else wearing? If I
Yeah.
wear this, how will they look at me? How will they, and I have that all the time, even now.
I think even doing this morning with you, there's still in the back of my head a lot of what are people going to think about this, especially people who know me and think that you're not the sort of person who would go on a video camera and talk. But I'm learning now ways to try and put myself a little bit more out there, get more confidence so that I can do some of the things that I've wanted to do. And that's why we're here, to hopefully get some ideas from others and hopefully help some people along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that fear of judgment, it really has a way of creeping into our lives. Obviously, we've mentioned there about, even what we wear is influenced. And it really holds people back. It certainly held me back in my working career.
Did you know? And I'd read this before coming on this morning that it's estimated about 85% of people have this on a daily basis,
Really?
regardless of what it is or what it can be. That they reckon through studies and that people are going about secretly feeling everybody's judging them. And what's quite good to know though is they're probably not. It's us that are doing it to ourselves, thinking everybody's thinking this about me. They're looking at me like this, and they're probably not. They're probably worried about their own problems as well and thinking they're being judged too. But it's a big issue.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And if you think about it, I suppose because other people are going through the same thing, they're really not interested in what you're wearing or what you're doing and what you're saying. They're worrying about their own
Yeah, they probably
issues.
don't even notice you're there, but in your own head, everybody's looking at you, thinking something. And it's these sort of things that I would like to share with others to help them, because once I think we realise that we're not the focus of everybody's lives, it might become easier not to feel
Yeah.
so judged.
Yeah. And that's the whole point of why we're here today. Hopefully we can unravel this fear that we're both facing and so many others around us as well, and try and understand where that comes from. And most importantly, don't let that define us. Look at how we can move forward and sort of rise above that. I think
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what today's about. Yeah. One bold step at a time, I think.
One bold step.
That's the key. Yeah. So obviously this topic is deeply impactful, because that fear of judgment is like you said, Hazel, is something that nearly everybody faces at some point. Yet it often goes unspoken. It's not something
No.
we talk about. It's something we all face and we all dealing with internally. But I wouldn't then go to someone, I really worried about what I was going to wear today. I really worried about what I was going to say in that meeting, and things like that. You just don't. You just deal with it yourself, don't you?
And that's the thing, it impacts your decision making because if you're in that meeting, you might have a clear idea of what you want to say, what you want to do. But if you're of the nature that I am and that I think you are too, Sam, is you're questioning yourself. But if I say this, what are they going to think about it? Even though you've made up your mind this is the right decision, but you're worried, are others going to be happy? What are they
Yeah.
going to think of me for saying this? So it can have knock-on effects into all areas.
Yeah, definitely. It
Mm.
quietly, because we don't speak out, it
We
quietly
don't
shapes the decisions we make. You know,
completely, because you're not going to, like you say to the people in front of you, well, I'm actually worried about what you're going to think about this. So it does impact all those areas.
yeah. So we avoid risks, and
Hmm.
we live and how we live our lives. And you know, if we don't speak up, worried about how people might perceive us,
Yeah,
then we're never gonna
move
work our
forward.
way through it, and
No,
nothing's ever gonna change.
no, and
No.
it's something I really have struggled with all my life. Like I say, the older I get, it's getting a bit easier, but it's still there every day.
Yeah.
Um, and I just think this way we're letting everybody else know they're not alone in these experiences that we're going to be talking about throughout the next couple of weeks. And that it's things that, like you say, they're unspoken, but apply to so many of us. But we always think it's just us. It's me
We
that
really
feels
do.
like this. Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's I'm the issue, I'm the problem. It's almost a paranoia, isn't it?
it is. And do you know, I'll tell you something. In my first job as a teacher, and I love being in the classroom, it took me 3 months before I went into the staff room to sit down and have a cup of tea.
Really.
Yeah, and they were lovely people. It was just me thinking, I'll just stay here in my little classroom at break time
Yeah.
because I was just too scared to see what to have people form an opinion of me, I suppose.
No, and
So
and yeah, I totally get that. I would avoid if I went into a room. I would avoid what
mm,
you're always encouraged to mingle, get to know people. I would always avoid that because, like, well, no, why would anyone want to speak to me? They
yeah,
probably don't like me.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Probably
yeah.
don't, but
But I get that. Yeah, I do. Hide at the back, all that sort of stuff. And I don't know what it is we're trying to figure out that they're judging us on. I don't think we even know
yeah,
ourselves.
I don't
But
think we do. We're judging
no,
ourselves, aren't we?
totally. And we're actually
Definitely.
judging other people that they might be thinking this about us, and they're not.
Yeah. And hopefully by us addressing it, and others realizing, they're not alone, maybe it creates a space for self-awareness and then growth, which is
Yeah,
which we all need to do, don't we?
yeah. And I suppose you look at if you, when we've read into all this and had a look up on it, I was interested that a lot of it comes from your past experiences. I was always shy as a child. My mum was very shy. So, and she was always worried about if she's spoken to someone and she'd constantly say, did I say the wrong thing? I wonder if I should have said this. She'd have, and I do that all the time. Not when
Mm.
I'm talking to you, Sam, because on, I never worry about that. But, yeah, and I would replay conversations. What would they think of me? Because I said that.
Yeah,
Things like that. Yeah.
yeah. And there's a lot to look at in terms of, it's almost learnt behaviour, isn't it? That we
Yeah.
learn from our parents and our grandparents, and it's hereditary, and it's
Hmm.
about, some of my fears of what my parents' fears. It stems right back, and it's
Yeah.
about breaking that cycle. And if you think about it, something a really simple, which probably not the right example, but I every Christmas I would make the same homemade stuffing that my mum made, my grandma made, and her
Yeah.
grandma. So that's
Yeah.
passed down. Something like that that's passed down. So why not fears and things like that they've passed down? Because it's inevitable that's going to rub off onto your children and so forth. So
Yeah,
it's about identifying that and
yeah.
trying to break that cycle.
And some of that being passed down, I think there's a good side to worrying about
Yeah,
being judged as well, because I would never want it to go the other way, that I didn't care what
yeah.
anybody thought. That's that reckless side of, so it's just getting away from it having such a big impact on you to
Well,
take in.
I
Yeah.
think you said it. Sorry, you said a comment, a phrase once. It's about don't live rent free in
Oh,
other
yeah.
people's heads.
Yeah, it's when you're worrying about, say, a particular person and what they think, you're allowing them to live rent free in your mind. So they're occupying your mind, not because of them, because of you,
Yeah,
allowing them to.
yeah.
Where if it's, and just because you're worried that they've judged you, they think this in you, they don't. And if they do, another phrase I heard was, it's none of my business what other people think of me.
Absolutely. It really isn't it? 'Cause
It's not as
why
easy to
get bogged
apply.
down?
Mm.
Yeah,
Not always easy
definitely.
to apply these things to yourself, but it does make sense when you try and look at it.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, really. And this is, I think this is a universal struggle, isn't it? The fear of being judged connects us all in some way, shape or form. And hopefully by us discussing it will remind those listening to this
Yeah.
that they're not alone in their experiences as well.
No, and this is a random thought that's just come to mind. Um, you do have the people on that other side. I think he's American. I won't mention his name, but he's not afraid of any judgment, apparently. So I wouldn't like to get that far, but yes, just move on.
Yeah,
So that it's not holding me back from missing out on these
yeah.
little things that I'd like to do. Um, and so what we'd like is some ways to deal with it, Sam. How can we deal with this?
Okay. Well, first of all, I suppose it's understanding the fear of being judged initially, isn't it? And understanding where it's come from. And you've touched on it from when you were younger. And a lot of issues do stem from childhood. It could be growing up with overcritical parents. That wasn't the case for me. My
No,
parents were
not
really
me.
supportive of me. Teachers, peers, and I know my daughter's at an age now where she's at secondary school, and things she used to wear. I mean, she's quite individual anyway, but she's more mindful now. I can't
Yeah.
wear that coat. That coat will get me,
Hmm.
you know, sort of noticed for the wrong reasons, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
she's very mindful, and it's quite sad because
Yeah.
why should you conform to the norm? Why can't you be individual and wear what you want to wear and do what you want to do? And I guess in a school environment, and then this is probably delving into an area I don't probably have no right to go into. You they're all at that impressionable age, aren't they? And you have to sort of fit with this sex. You don't want to single yourself out. You don't want to sort of raise your head above the parapet, sort of thing. You have to. It's yeah,
But you will get some who do that. So again, it's more about an individual having the fear of being judged that's likely to stop somebody wearing the clothes she wants, whereas somebody who is confident that way won't care what others think. It just, I suppose it depends on your level of confidence about what others think of you that
yeah,
affects even things like that. And I was just thinking, it's it's only now I've done things like change my hairstyle, or it was the same. Oh, it's tied back today. It's not the best example, but I kept it straight long until I was about 35 because I just didn't know how I'd be seen or if it was a good idea, and I cared more about what other people would think than whether I'd
yeah.
like it or not. So it's silly things that you don't even think about at the time why you're not doing something. It's only when you look back you think, I didn't do that because I was scared I was scared of others' opinions.
It's about that I suppose like what you faced, and also like an impressionable school age, it's that biological survival instinct, isn't it? I guess it's as social beings, as
Yeah.
humans, we want to. We're hardwired really to seek acceptance and to avoid rejection, and that's what we're doing. And it starts probably from about 10 onwards. Beyond that, you sort of in your own environment,
Mm.
aren't you? I think from 10 onwards, there's an awareness and you
Yeah.
want to be accepted,
Yeah.
stepping into those unfamiliar situations. You don't want to be different.
And me as an adult, I still get that. There's
Mm,
there's times I've wanted to do work-wise and things so much more, and I stop myself from fear of others, really, which is what I need
yeah,
to really get to grips with.
yeah.
So
For me, it's probably low self-esteem. It's a lack of, and I probably wasn't the most confident child. I was like you, I was shy, I was really
yeah,
quiet. I wouldn't speak up. And that went through quite a lot of my sort of adult life as well. I can remember in a previous job, I'd been promoted to a new role, and it involved, being in meetings with more experienced people.
yeah,
And I just wouldn't speak. I wouldn't voice my opinion, even if it was different to what everyone else said,
yeah,
because I thought, well, they're all more knowledgeable than me. They're more experienced. What right have I to speak up? And it took a long time before I did. And I think when I did, it was a shock to everybody. But it's like, oh, yeah, what, you're speaking up. But
but it's
yeah,
probably a bigger shock to you. But then let you. I bet
yeah.
you can do that easily now.
I, I,
In fact,
I,
I'm familiar with your work, Sam. I know you can
yeah.
speak up.
I'm laughing because I get round in my head now. I'm like, just shut up, just stop talking. People don't want to hear it. So you still got those doubts, haven't you? Thinking
You have.
you're saying too much. Just be quiet.
I
It's the
know, because
same.
as I'm sitting here doing this, I'm thinking, it's, and I'm putting judgment out there already. Who's interested in your stories about going into the staff room, Hazel? But it's more about,
Me?
yeah, well, there you go. But it's more about, it's these sort of little things that everybody is struggling with. And we want to find ways now of stop being afraid, stop dwelling so much on what other people think of us and holding ourselves back. And let's just get everybody moving on more confidently.
Yeah.
And so
Because
as
holding us back, we're missing opportunities.
huge amounts. Yeah.
Huge, yeah. Lack of self-expression and even mental health
Oh,
impacts as well, because you're holding yourself back, you're not being true to yourself. That has a huge impact.
it does. And at the minute, we need to be doing everything we can to keep our mental health moving forward because things are difficult at the minute and we're making them
Yeah.
more difficult for ourselves to um to move on. And so I was thinking, Sam,
Hmm.
how would you, if you were to tell me about practicing self-compassion and silencing this inner critic that leads me to think, what do you think I could get from that?
I've got a meditation mantra
Okay,
that might work. um I could try it on you to see if it works.
go on then.
It's sort of like, something you could sort of repeat to yourself, maybe on a daily basis, weekly, when you feel that you need it. It's just to help you embrace your true self. With a few breathing as well. Shall I go through it with you?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Are you happy to do that? So,
Yeah,
okay, if make sure you're sitting comfortably. You're in a quiet space. You'll only hear my voice, obviously. Feet planted firmly on the ground,
yeah,
or legs crossed, however you feel most comfortable, what feels most natural. If I can ask you if you're comfortable to close your eyes,
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
okay, and take 3 deep breaths. So a deep breath in and a slow breath out. Deep breath in and a slow breath out. And a deep breath in and a slow breath out. Now I'm going to just repeat my mantra to you. You can repeat it in your head. I'm not here to please everybody. I am here to be myself. Growth begins where my comfort owns ends. With every step forward, I remind myself I am capable, I am strong, I am enough. I accept myself completely, exactly as I am. I breathe in courage and I exhale self-doubt. Each moment is a new opportunity to embrace my authenticity, to celebrate my journey. I am worthy, I am whole, I am me. Okay, let's open your eyes. How was that?
Yeah, very relaxing, and it's interesting. And I would keep those words somewhere I could see them, and probably do that every day, because it's leading on to, it's reframing your thoughts, isn't it?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
more positive ways of thinking about yourself. And
And what you could do, you could repeat that to yourself. You've got it. I mean, how long did that take? It was a couple of minutes. A
yeah,
couple of minutes, either in the morning or at the end of the day, and then maybe couple that with some journaling. What
yep,
did I do great today? And then
uh-huh.
5 minutes just journaling after you've done that mantra, or in the morning. How am I going to approach today? And then put
Yeah,
some.
I love my journaling. That's
Yeah,
helped me a lot. Yeah.
yeah,
Just, but that's a good one. I'll definitely look into that one again and see what else.
yeah. It's practicing self-compassion, isn't it? And
Yeah.
silencing, and it's that inner critic. Nobody's telling you you're doing something wrong. Nobody's saying what you're wearing
Nope.
is not right. Nobody's saying you shouldn't attempt that. You shouldn't try that. What you're doing is wrong.
It's just
You're
us.
saying it.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
saying
saying
it.
it to
Yep.
myself.
Yeah.
So
Um,
yeah, yeah. And in terms of inspiring stories. I've got nothing for me because I'm still living that journey, and hopefully, I'm in a better place than what I was 5 years ago, 10
yeah.
years ago, certainly 20 years ago. But if you look at people, in the public figures, J.K.
Yeah.
Rowling,
Yeah.
those Harry
What,
Potter
what was it,
books, they're
12?
phenomenal. But
Mm-hmm.
she went through so much rejection
I know.
before they were published.
I bet they're all disappointed they rejected her now.
Absolutely.
I
I mean,
think
the
it was 12 or
self-doubt she
something.
must have
Yeah.
faced, but she kept
She
going.
kept.
She
Yeah.
believed in herself. So, that's true inspiration there, really, isn't it?
I did do one thing.
Yeah.
I did one thing. A couple of years ago, I was given 24 hours notice to do a bit of a story about myself at Dynamic Earth in Edinburgh in front of a couple of hundred people.
Wow.
And I did it. And what was weird, because this is somebody who basically goes to the back of a room whenever there's a lot of people, I really enjoyed it. I think because I knew what I was talking about,
Hmm.
but I really loved it. And I would never, if I'd known about this for weeks in advance and I'd been ill, I would change my mind 1,000 times and I'd probably have ended up saying no. But because I had 24 hours notice, I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to try it. And I did. And it's something I need to do more of, things like that. Definitely more things like
Fantastic.
that. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And just speaking on that, I was asked to do a testimonial recently, a video testimonial, and I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
no, I'll think about it. It took me 2 weeks to do it,
But
but I
you did
did
it.
it. I did it.
Oh, brilliant.
It's like, wow. I mean, who am I?
What's happening to us, Sam?
what have you done with Sam? But you know, and maybe that's a challenge to us both. Maybe each week, you know, do one thing
Yeah.
each week that scares you.
And we've got each other to keep accountable.
We have, yeah.
Well, it should be.
I don't know what that looks like for me yet, but I think we definitely need to put ourselves get out of that comfort zone, because that comfort zone is what's holding us back
And
in
if
some respects.
and if we're encouraging others to do the same, we're going to have to lead by example here, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And let's face it, this is not our comfort zone, is it?
I think it's fairly obvious this is not our comfort zone, but hopefully it will become more of a comfort zone
Yeah,
as we,
yeah,
yeah. But it's pretty clear today that this
yeah,
is new to us. But the point is, we are trying it, and
yeah,
we will be judged.
yeah. So yeah, so that's a challenge to us. Do one thing that scares us, and then we can tell each other about it. And then there's a question to pose, isn't there? You know, what's one fear you're ready to conquer?
Wow.
Something to think about.
Well, I couldn't give you an answer on the spot, but yeah, I'll definitely have one for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So obviously we've done the mindful techniques, you know, the meditation mantra. It's about, you know, that self-belief, isn't it? Inner self-belief, and hopefully that comes out in everyday life. Um, we've got a little fun thing next, haven't we?
We
If you
have.
want to share that, you know, we're the cocktail coaches, and you know, it's a
Well, of course.
little fun play on that.
And
We've
if
got
if we explain that a bit, the cocktail
yeah,
coaches, it's more about mixing things up, not necessarily having a cocktail. Um,
no. However, cocktail may be nice, but not right now.
not that's a bit early.
Yeah, bit early. Yeah. So we've created sort of a segment for these podcasts, and we're going to call them mixology minutes. And it's you know, a short segment in every episode that we do, where you blend 2 or 3 tips or strategies into a recipe for success, a cocktail recipe for
Yep.
success. For example, this week's confidence cocktail. You know, you know, we're going to just go through the recipe for that one right now. So, you could describe it as a cocktail of self-empowerment, blending boldness, resilience, and self-love into one fierce drink. So, Hazel, do you want to start with that recipe?
Yep. So if you start with 1 ounce of self-awareness, so you're recognizing your fears, their origins, and this is the base that grounds you. So that's what you're starting with first. 1 ounce of self-awareness.
Follow that up with 2 ounces of boldness, a generous splash to fuel that courage which you need to take those risks and face judgment.
And then you've got your ounce of resilience. Very important, because that's your ability to bounce back when things don't go quite as planned, and you need to give it another go.
Yep. Dash of self love. You know, add that touch of sweetness to remind yourself of your worth.
Okay. And we've got our sparkling action water. That's to top it off with the actions that refresh and invigorate your confidence and give you that go.
Yep. And finish it all off with that slice of reflection citrus. So garnish with a twist of introspection for your continuous growth.
So
And
reflecting
then,
on what, oh, I see, right.
yeah,
Reflecting on what you've
yeah,
done, yeah.
yeah. So instructions, pour all those ingredients into the shaker of self-discovery. Shake well to mix the flavours of growth, courage and love. Serve chilled with a side of unapologetic authenticity.
Oh,
Sip slowly, savouring the taste of transformation. What do you think?
I think that sounds wonderful. And I think we could get that recipe up there for you somehow by the
Yeah, yeah,
next, we could get them all together and we'll keep a recipe book for you if you would like to.
absolutely. figure it out.
Okay.
I'll figure out this technical. Yeah, that's the fear to face, isn't it?
It
Technology.
is. We're
That's a
having a
great
technical
one.
fear.
Real technophobe I am. So that's great. Thank you for that, Hazel. Is there
And
anything else you want to add today?
no, I'm just going to say thank you for sharing that with me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm actually going to go away and put this mantra up where I can see it, and I'm going to face a fear. I've just got
Yeah,
thousands, so I need to pick one, and I'll get back to you on that. Okay?
me too, definitely. I'm definitely going to do the mantra every day. And like you're you're a real advocate for journaling. I'm going to start
Yeah.
journaling because it's not something I do, but it's something I feel I
Just
want to do as well.
at night as well, it just empties your head. You can just get it all out, and it's like you've dealt with it, so it doesn't
Yeah.
keep you awake. I found it works quite well for me that way.
And something else I'm going to do as well, and this is about, and I went to, I saw a public speaker on Sunday, and something he said was, what have you stopped doing that you really love?
Yeah,
And it really resonated, and it's like, you know what, I really love drawing. I've got a degree in art
yeah.
many moons ago, but I haven't drawn for probably 28 years, and I'm going to get back into that.
Yeah, and it's about doing things that aren't all just to do with work and run the house. It's things
Yeah,
that you enjoy, just a bit of that self care of this is
yeah.
my time.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
So, brilliant. Thank you for
right,
today, Hazel.
thank you.
Your insights have been really good, and I know I'm not alone in my self doubt and fear of judgment, and hopefully we can
Absolutely.
go from fear to fierce and
That would
overcome that
be, yeah.
judgment and build that confidence. So, yeah, that's brilliant. So,
Okay then.
thank you
Well,
for today, and thank you for listening, everybody, and we'll be back
see you
soon.
next week.
See you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.